What's going on, Lip? We are live. Commissioner Corner Podcast, episode number 56. It's going to be in the books shortly, but this is the biggest NBL draft show of all time ever.
Ooh,
I'm calling it right now. It is going to be a fun ride tonight. We're going to start it off with a bang. I mean, let's get right into it. Let's not even play around. Well, actually, I want to give a quick shout out to our man, the NBL Season 37 Super Bowl champion. I know it's Season 36 now. Motor and the Miami Dolphins defeated the bridesmaid Dallas Cowboys in my OSU voice in the Super Bowl. If you missed that game, it's in our playlist, NBL Live. It was broadcast number 284, man. We are cruising for a bruising right now. All right, let's get right back into it. So we're going to do a Bleacher Report recap per usual. We got an NBL Season 38 mock draft. The draft is on Thursday. What time, Lip? Hit him with the time.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Twitch.tv/MBL Network. Season 38 mock draft we're going to do on this show tonight. We're going to go through our top 10 picks. And there's some changes. And Lip, what did we get across our desk about 2 minutes before getting into this show?
We got some breaking news.
We got breaking news. Oh, let's not break it yet. Let's not break it yet, guys. Don't forget, NBL Snaps, Season 37. It's a year in review. We're going to have some photos, all this cool stuff done by Draco and myself. It will be on the YouTube channel before the draft tomorrow night. So check that out, NBL Snaps Season 37. All right, Lip, I'm going to go ahead and just play the
spin it.
I'm just going to play the breaking news. Here it is. It's going to be on the screen. Lip, want to announce this trade. I think there's a big-time trade that just happened, obviously. Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings. Then the Titans flip the pick, send it to the Eagles. Titans now have the 3rd pick in the NBL draft. I'm going to let that sit on the screen. I think the 2nd-round pick is wrong. So, Lip, do you know what the Titans-Vikings trade actually was?
I'll have to look that up. But so basically what happened was that Unisolated was sitting at 11th. He's got me messed up because he kept telling me 12, and then a whole bunch of stuff went on after that. So he was at pick 11, moved up to pick 6, and then decided that he was going to swap with the Eagles to move up to 3rd. And this is a big move. This is a bold move. A lot is riding on these on this big move. Gave up quite a bit. I'm still scrolling through trying to find exactly what it was. But this is a big move, and we're going to get into whether this pays off or not.
I don't agree. Okay, so Titans traded with the Vikings. To get to 6th, they gave away a 2nd-round pick at 44th overall and their 11th overall pick. That moved them to 6. I'm not sure if the Vikings gave away. I'm worried. What is this right here? The 2nd-round pick, 134. Obviously, there's no pick in the 2nd round worth 134th. So I'm trying to figure out what on this graphic. That is incorrect. But I got the check mark going over here for them. Verify that. They're the winners in this one. The Vikings definitely won in that trade, moving just back to 11 in a draft that isn't really... I just feel like the top picks... There's a couple guys I really like. We'll talk about that in just a second. Then the Titans-Eagles. I got the Eagles winning this trade as well. So we're going to check mark there, check mark there. Vikings-Eagles, I think this is a bad move for the Titans. We're going to get into that in just a little bit. But find out exactly what the trade is.
Hold on, I found it.
Go ahead.
The Vikings gave up their first. They pick 6, and then it was 134.
You're damn right he throws pick 6s. That's true. It's funny he moved to pick 6.
It looks like it was a 5th-round pick. A 1st and a 5th.
Okay, so this is a 5. Okay.
And the Titans sent their 1st-round pick 11, and then pick 44 in the 2nd round.
Okay, for a 1st and a 5th. Gotcha. Then they flipped the 11. No, then they flipped the 6. They pair it with the 31st, so that means they must have had the Cowboys' 1st-round pick, right? Yeah,
they paired it with pick 31 and, of course, pick 6 to move up 3 spots. Just 3 spots, and I don't even think they had to do that, but they think they did. And we're going to see if it pays off here in just a couple of days.
Yeah, so to move from 6 to 3, they give up a first round. I don't like it. They give up a 1st-round pick, 31, to move from 6 to 3. The Eagles drop back. I already did. I'll put the check marks up again. I got Vikings and Eagles winning that trade. How you got that turning out?
Yeah, I got the exact same thing. I think whenever you're in that top 5 position, even top 10, I think that you can move back and you can acquire some more picks. Look, I mean, the Eagles just moved back 3 spots and they pick up pick 6 and pick 31. They're going to get 2 studs to build around. They can get a leader on each side of the ball, and all they had to do was move back 3 picks. They're not losing anything in this. The Titans sold out for this move, and the Eagles are big winners. Vikings also doing, getting a good job, because moving from 6 to 11, that's really nothing.
All right, Nemo in the chat says it's hard to win trades moving up into the top 5 because you got to give up so much. Completely disagree, because it isn't about how much you give up to get into the top 5. It's what you're trying to get into the top 5 for, and we'll talk about that in just a second. If there's a prize in there, like AKA a franchise quarterback that's going to be your starter for the next 15 years, that's worth whatever. And he didn't give up too much. I mean, you want to look at it. He gave up the 6th overall pick and 2 firsts to get into the 3rd. Move up 3 spots. If that's the difference between a franchise quarterback and not getting into one, absolutely worth it. But we're a little skeptical on what he considers a franchise quarterback in this draft. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Make sure we tell everybody in the grid and MBL that we are live right here on youtube.com/MBL Network. We're going to get right into the action. Let's go right into Bleacher Report. First of all, MBL Magazine, number 230, featuring the NBL Season 37 Super Bowl champions of the world, the Miami Dolphins, get their first Super Bowl in the NBL. Let's take a closer look at this magazine. I like the look of this. I like the teal, the white. It all looks fresh to me.
Yeah, and the big thing was that a couple seasons ago, people said that the Dolphins, whenever they changed ownership, that this was going to totally change. Anytime a new ownership takes over, the league kind of looks at it like, yeah, prove it, basically. Going into a very tough division, and then you got to get through the AFC that's got the Chiefs, the Patriots, even the Bengals, Colts. It's a tough road to get there, and then they get there and they got to beat the best out of the NFC. And I'm telling you, last year, whenever they lost to the Giants, everybody knew that they were coming back. They loaded up, and they went and they won the title. And that's just something that they really were upset with, how they played in that Super Bowl last year, that they came back and made a total difference this year.
Yeah, the teal is fire. A lot of people thinking Unisolated gave up so much. And it's because we all have looked at this draft and we know, who are you giving it up for? What is out there? We're going to talk about that in a little bit. I don't want to continue to tease you guys, but we do have a great show. We're going to do a mock draft. We're going to go back on Bleacher Report till the morning drop this morning. The morning buzz, excuse me. It's not a drop no more. We upgraded. Always upgraded here. Bleacher Report Morning Buzz, April 3rd. Top free agent Chuck Thomas picks Seattle as his destination to play NBL football, while Mariota will be the new quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Did you know Chuck Thomas's contract, $140 million, 50 of it is guaranteed, is worth 2 times more than anyone else's contract so far this offseason? Did the Miami Dolphins overpay for Chuck Thomas? Excuse me, the Seattle Seahawks, did they overpay for Chuck Thomas?
Yeah, I absolutely think they did, because they had Russell Wilson and they let him go, and I don't think Chuck Thomas is any better. I'm not even sure that this is an upgrade. So they go out and they spend this large amount of money.
You don't think this is an upgrade?
I don't think it's an upgrade.
Wow. Now, if we're going to look at Chuck Thomas's attributes, then I would say Lip is crazy. If you're going to look at his production with those attributes, he's probably right on line with his sentiments right now. But I'm going to say this, big time upgrade for the Seattle Seahawks. But there's certain things Chuck Thomas can do that Marcus Mariota can do. Obviously, he's not as mobile, not really mobile much at all. Kind of in that mid-tier of mobility, Chuck Thomas. He's a lefty. Great attributes. I like to see him do well in Seattle, but I think if you're the Seattle Seahawks right now, you've lost the division 2 seasons in a row. You're going to look back and say, well, I mean, in order to entice players the caliber of Chuck Thomas to come to Seattle and play football for us, these are the kind of contracts we got to give up at the franchise position. They basically said, Chuck Thomas, you're our guy. I know New England didn't want you. New England will be happy. They got Allen Rose. Marcus Mariota's in Miami. So there's a lot of changing going on in the AFC East. But Chuck Thomas, I think, will fit in very nicely with the Seattle Seahawks. I hope it pays off for him. The Broncos have been busy in free agency, signing some of the most coveted players available. Aaron Rodgers signs a 1-year deal worth $18.2 million. The rich get richer in the NBL, as they say. They also signed defensive end Cam Jordan, linebacker Jordan Hicks, wide receiver Tyler Lockett, still got speed, and more. Hold on. I'm curious about this and more. Who wrote this tweet? Now you got me interested. I don't care about anything but this part. This and more is really, that's my big question mark. If and more is really more, or it's just something they're saying because there's nobody else worth mentioning, It's question. I got a question mark there. Good start for Denver. What do you think about those signs? Cam Jordan, Jordan Hicks, Tyler Lockett, and 18.2 for the 95 throw power. Still got it. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, the Aaron Rodgers thing, we keep on talking about. This guy makes more and more money all the time.
We got to really start having a calculator on our thing.
He just makes so much money.
Someone do the math. I mean, what has Tampa paid him and Los Angeles Rams? Now he goes to the AFC. He says, man, he's going to milk this for all he's worth. He's going to retire maybe the first billion-dollar owner in the NBL, or player in the NBL.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening. I don't know if I like this because they went from they grabbed Andrew Luck, and that really didn't work out. I'm not sure if it was because of injury that they decided to move on. But you get Aaron Rodgers just coming off his best year, probably all cycle, and that's got to, it's got to pay off because they kind of had a little bit of a limitation this last season. They were a really run-heavy team, so they're going all in with Aaron Rodgers here to try to revive that passing attack, put it in there with a run game, and play some defense and see if that can take them to the next level because they're right on the outside of the playoffs every single season.
Before I say anything about Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to go ahead and point this out right now. The season he finally makes the playoffs has the best season of his entire Madden 19 cycle. He takes the least amount of money he's been offered over the last 4 years because Aaron Rodgers only signs one-year deals. The last 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 5th season in a row Aaron Rodgers has taken a one-year deal. He signed 2 with the Los Angeles Rams. he's the LeBron James.
And I mean, because he's going to leave. He's going to probably, based on the percentages, he's going to leave Denver after this year, and he's going to make another 15-20 million. He's not done. There's no
Z-Star
way.
in the chat asking if Jamie has ever had the same quarterback in the multiple seasons. He did. He had Aaron Rodgers for 2 years in a row. I paid him both years. I think close to 30 nearly both times. So Aaron Rodgers signs with the Denver Broncos, $18.2 million. Andrew Luck's still out 26 weeks. He's in the free agency right now. I'm interested to see where he goes. He was the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Kind of bounced around a little bit. The Cards hauled in free agent wide receiver, former Washington Redskin Jamison Crowder, BTF franchise season. What was it? 35 that we had the Redskins on there? I can't remember. 4-year deal, $32 million, way overpay. Crowder spent the past 5 seasons with the Redskins, in which he averaged over 1,000 yards in the past 4. He joins Juju Smith-Schuster in Arizona's receiving core. I like 91 speed. I think it's 91 excel and 94 agility. Crowder, obviously 5'8". He's small and he's 31 years old. This is a complete overpay. I would like to see what the guaranteed is. I am a thumbs down on this for the Arizona Cardinals, but I understand they desperately needed speed and they needed some skill, and he delivers both of that, but it's going to be a rental just for about a year. I'm just curious how long you're going to have to keep him on that contract. What's the guaranteed on that $32 million?
Yeah, I'm not totally convinced that this is a win, but I do think it's moving them in the right direction. They have been really limited by their inability to pass and their dependence on the run game with David Johnson. So now if they got Juju, they bring in Crowder here. Their plan is to try to throw the ball more and be a little bit more diverse come playoff time because they've proven that they can win the division. Now it's time to win in the playoffs, and this is a piece in the puzzle to try to achieve that. I'm not sure if it's enough. How many P's are you
going to say? Do you got your pop filter on? If you're going to be,
I do not.
I can
dude,
tell,
you should see my setup, man.
You're popping the P's right now, heavy.
You should see.
Hold
if
on,
I send you a picture of my setup,
yeah,
it's significantly.
Well, can you stay away from the P's? Dude?
I got it. My mic is sitting on top of a little stool that's on top of a trash can. It's
wow. Lip, you need to take a Saturday,
I had to move
bro.
out of the basement.
Take a Saturday and figure this out. Hey, in the chat,
no
Nemo says Jamison Crowder still got a little bit left. And you know what? I always told Nemo it was time to move on from Crowder and Paul Richardson Jr. They actually were a little bit better than I give him credit for. Shout out to Nemo. I still think Crowder had a year left. And maybe it didn't make sense for him to keep him. Obviously, the cost of a re-sign, he lets him go. He saves the money. But Crowder does still have a year left, maybe a year and a half in the right situation. I don't think Arizona's the right situation for him. 49ers signed defensive end AC Jones to a 3-year deal worth $27.5 million. Jones played a backup role for a majority of his career with the Miami Dolphins, a Super Bowl champion of the world Miami Dolphins, but he has a starting potential. He's likely to get a chance in San Francisco. Likely? 3 years, $27.5 million. Likely? No, he's the starter day one, and they've already scratched it. That might even actually be in the contract. I don't like this word right here. You see, I'm going to circle it. Likely? No. He will. He'll get that chance in San Francisco. Agree or disagree, Lip? 3 years, $27.5 million for a DN, and you sit him on the bench? Not happening.
No, and I mean, there's not a whole lot. This team doesn't have a whole lot, so he has to be a starter for that kind of money every year. So, I mean, he'll definitely be a starter, play a big role. But he also got a lot of that just based off him coming from a great defense. So let's it's going to be interesting to see if he actually lives up to that dollar amount.
No peas on that one. Appreciate that, Lip. Brad in the chat saying,
looking
like Star trying to impress the ladies at the bar with Lip's stool on a garage can setup. Somebody, please mute him for 180 seconds. I don't want to hear Brad for a while. That makes no sense. Rams seems to be addressing their needs at the offensive line with the signings of Lane Johnson, washed 65. Pass block for Lane Johnson. Still good in the run. And Andrew Norwell, former Jacksonville Jaguar, Lip. Sad to see him go. He still has a year left in the tank. The veteran lineman will receive a 1-year and 3-year deal respectively and greatly improve the status of protection in LA. I do think Lane Johnson has about a year left. Obviously more of a run blocker now. You got to move him inside, speed. He really couldn't keep up at the tackle. I moved him inside the guard, let him go. I like these signings for the Rams. Shout out to the Los Angeles Rams. Wham, bam, thank you, Rams. They got an offensive line now. What does this mean in the draft? We'll get to that in just a second when we get to our mock draft. Actually, we're not even supposed to be on this overlay. What am I doing? This one right here. Here we go. We're in the Bleacher Report recap. Lip, thoughts on the Rams signing Lane Johnson and Andrew Norwell? Pretty good to see them investing in an offensive line. Even though it's this late in the cycle, at least we're seeing some kind of pulse from the Los Angeles Rams, who last invested in Aaron Rodgers and gave the future of their family and all patents that their family might own this ownership, and they sold it all out for him. Didn't work out. But now they're finally back in free agency signing people. It's good to see.
Yeah, I know that Norwell's got a couple years left. He's definitely got 3 years left. Lane Johnson, like you said, you move him around a little bit, find where he fits. That's going to be a great improvement for that offensive line.
All right, they're saying in the chat that Lane Johnson has 71 pass block. I said he had 65. I think he has 65. And I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he had 71 last year. Let's go ahead and see. I'm going to have to check. I'm going to check this out on the Dad League site real quick. Lane Johnson, former tight end, is what Dupe says. All right, Lane Johnson, let's see, 33 years old, and he's 65 pass block. Eric G, worry about them tweets, brother. All right, let's get right back to the show. The Vikings signed wide receiver Adam Thielen in the second stage of free agency. Thielen spent the last 2 seasons playing for the Cards. He'll be back in purple this season after catching only 16 receptions for 229 yards. Happy to see Thielen back in the Vikings. This is pointless news. He's not going to do anything with the Vikings.
Yeah,
disagree with me here, Lip. Come on.
Yeah, he was brought back there. I mean, he's got a little bit of home ties there. That's all that is. Nothing more.
All right, the Bears signed 2 outside linebackers in stage 2 of free agency. Eli Harold will start his 8th season as a Bear, and Jordan Evans, who will be starting his 6th season in the NBL. Speedy halfback Corey Grant will be a face in the new offensive backfield. I don't know how much he gets, but he was a former Detroit Lion. Had a great postseason. Jordan Evans, Eli Harold, and Corey Grant, kind of a quiet offseason for the Chicago Bears. Nothing really to see there. The Cincinnati Bengals have moved up in this season's rookie draft by the way of the Atlanta Falcons. They now take possession of this year's 13th overall pick. The division champs from a year ago will look to land an immediate spot in the starting position, starter in this spot. What spot is that? The division champs from a year ago will look to land an immediate starter in this spot. Okay, in the 13th spot. I guess that's what we're talking about. So, Cincinnati Bengals moving up. I like everybody who's moving back right now. I've checked out this draft, Lip. There's a couple guys I like, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a top 5 mock, and we're going to talk about every team. We got mock-ups on every single team in the NBL. So right now, if you're watching this show, go into the NBL chat, go into the grid chat and say, hey, get over here. We got 35 viewers watching right now. This is information you need to see. Shout out to Darce Knight, Jamie, shout out to JB, shout out to Underoath. All these guys help put this production together. And shout out to myself, baby, because I'm still doing it. We still rocking it over here, guys. Go tag everybody in chat. Tell them they need to be here. We got mock-ups on every team, Lip. Breakdowns of your record last year, where you should go this year. All this good sense. It's going to be debuted here on this show, and then we're going to put it out to the public afterward. With the addition of George Kittle, we're moving on. Jets made tight end Gerald Everett up for trade, and the Chiefs were all for it. The Jets will send Everett to Kansas City in exchange for a 3rd-round pick this year. Jets just continue to make moves. I think that's an impressive move. They paid little for George Kittle, and that's rhyme time, baby. And they give up Everett, and they get back a 3rd? I like the moves. What do you think?
Yeah, I think George Kittle's still really good. I think that he went for later round picks.
Oh, yeah, shout out to Lib. Before the chat gets me, I named 4 people, and then after those 4, I was just like, I'm really going to sell myself here. And I forgot about Lip.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll make a song. Maybe someday it was forgot about Lip. You know what I'm talking about? I know you know that song, right? Instead of forgot about Dre, we'll do forgot about Lip. Do a whole parody on it, maybe.
You can't forget Lip.
Yeah. So go ahead. George Kittle, he's a Jet.
I love George Kittle.
And you love George Kittle. He was on your team for a year. He came by.
For a year.
He upped his stock and said, I'm going to go get paid now. And you're like, well, that means you're gone, huh? He's like, yeah, I'm out of here. 40 viewers watching. Appreciate you guys. So what do you think about the trade? George Kittle to the Jets, good?
Oh, it's great. Anytime that you can get a big, speedy tight end, and even Everett is the same way. He's not quite as big and quite as fast as Kittle, but he's still above average and definitely going to be a good target for a great quarterback, great offense.
Absolutely. And then they send Everett out for pretty much a steal. The Titans have come to terms. This was 18 minutes ago. The Titans have come to terms with two teams, the Vikings and the Eagles. We just announced that the Titans now have the 3rd overall pick. Here's how it broke down. We talked about this already. A 1st and a 2nd round from the Titans, which is 11th overall, 44th overall. Titans send to the Vikings. Vikings send to the Titans 1st round, 6th overall, and then they take the 6th and flip it to a 3rd. I think they were fine at the 6th spot, moving up those positions, but they decide they need to go further because they're trying to get themselves a quarterback. I think it's about time we get into that too. Let me just make sure I didn't miss nothing. Once again, shout out to the Miami Dolphins. They're the champions of NBL Season 37. And don't forget, Snaps, a photo journey, year in review of NBL Season 37. It's always on our YouTube channel, started in Season 34. It is going to be back for another episode, probably before the draft at some time. But let's go ahead and move on to what we got. Let's get right into the action here. This is why you guys stopped by. Season 38 mock draft. And here we go. We're just going to get right into it. Let's go Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the Commissioner Corner Podcast official mock draft. Lib's going to break down to you why we put these guys in this position and what it means. We're also going to have depth charts on what those position groups are going to change and look like when they add these new rookies, because I'm telling you, this is where these guys are going. And if they don't, they're dumb. They're box and rock stupid over here. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. What do you think, Lip? You ready to get this cracking?
I do. I am, and I like your story. I like your box of rocks comment.
Did I say that out loud? I wonder what I say. Let's get right into it. Pittsburgh Steelers. We're going cornerback. Devontae Hardy. No relation to Jeff or Matt or the WWE, but this whole Oklahoma Sooner got it going on. Devontae Hardy is going to be the cornerback starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were looking to move this pick. What is your thoughts on this? They looked to move this pick, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, I'll tell you what happened there. They were looking to move this pick, and there's two angles of this. They were looking to move this pick, and then they ended up heading out to the combine, and they started to see that Hardy has a 4.42 40 time. Everything else jumped off the charts, and then they saw that there was another guy in this draft that they would also be, completely content with taking. They could have moved back to get him. They're not going to do that. They're going to stay here, and they're going to go with Hardy. They really, really, really like this guy because he's got, he's only 5'11", but he's got that 4.42 speed. He's got the best vert, broad jump, and 3-cone in this draft class for cornerbacks. So this kid's an absolute monster. He's going to have that really, really high-end speed where he's going to be able to play man-to-man. He's going to be able to catch up on all of his rookie mistakes based off his speed. So once he develops his skill, he's going to be one of the best corners in the NBL.
And the Steelers were 26 against the pass last season. They need some help against the pass, and here's what their lineup's going to look like. Devontae Hardy, and then safety position, you have Terrell Edmonds, Cortez Chancey, and then Artie Burns. You're familiar with old Smarty Artie. Artie's going to be the number 2 corner for this team. Hardy moves right into that number 1 spot. What do you think about this position group in the secondary? Edmonds, Chancey, Hardy, and Burns. I like this improvement. That is why this is crucial. That's why we wanted to do these mocks. Shout out to JB, because you take a look at this as a whole now and you go, okay, now I see it all coming to fruition. That's what their lineup's going to look like. Real quick, Willip, we're going to move on. We're going to try to do these a little bit faster. Number 2 here, San Francisco 49ers. We got them taking left tackle, Darian Windsor. Why do they need to take a tackle and protect Bowman, the starting quarterback for this team, franchise QB? They drafted him 1st overall just a season or 2 ago. Why do you think they're going left tackle, Darian Windsor? Why do we think this? Why is it so important for them to shore up that offensive line?
Well, offensive line is a big thing. They don't need any flashy players because they just got to be able to stand tall in the pocket and make simple throws, and even to be able to run the football. Left tackle, much more focused on the passing protection. But here, you got Darian Windsor. He's 6'5", 310, very young, 21 years old, out of Auburn, and he is a pass protector. That's what he's been labeled his entire college career. He's coming out in the draft now with 39 bench press reps, first among left tackles, and that's going to make him an absolute anchor for this team. Once they can start to get some protection, time in the pocket, they can start to develop the passing and even the run game. So this is going to make this offensive line a lot better and really protect the blind side of the quarterback for the 49ers, so that they can start to build other positions and just be able to learn more and grow as a team. And it's really going to start with this left tackle, because he is an absolute stud.
Yeah, B.J. Bauman, first overall pick out of Texas last season, was a rookie. This kid, or this might be his third season. I'm not sure. I got to look. Yeah, last season he was a rookie. 53% completion. He was sacked 35 times, but he only attempted 157. He played in about half of the games last year. So this is a guy that was on pace to get sacked 70 times. They definitely need help up in the front. Let's take a look at what their starting lineup's going to be. Their offensive lineup with this guy in the, at the left tackle position. You got Darian Windsor, Patrick Megna, Jordan Nicholson, Carol Rooks, and Jawan Amundsen. What do you think about this front five right there? I mean, they look pretty fat to me.
Well, I mean, here's the best thing. This is kind of the safety net about Windsor, is that he's got great acceleration for an offensive lineman. So even if he can't handle being on the outside, left tackle one-on-one against the ends and outside linebackers, he absolutely has the potential to move inside to one of the guard slots and be able to pull and do all sorts of things because of that quickness. He's got the strength. We already talked about that. So he's a versatile lineman, but you really want him to be the anchor on the left side, the left tackle. But he does have versatility if he can't handle that. So that makes him a really safe pick, a really good pick for number 2.
And the big-time trade alert, Tennessee Titans, they're on the clock. Where do we got them going? We just found out about this. Let's see where they're going to go. We got them going, just quarterback Reed Oakley. It's time to shame this team. The Tennessee Titans give up a ton to move into third. And they got to be taking who? They got to be taking a star quarterback, right? This got to be B.J. Bauman potential. Someone with superstar depth. I don't know, Reed Oakley. What do you think about him, Lip? How's he going to fit into this offense? This is a team that's been plagued with quarterback woes for quite some time now, from Marcus Mariota to Jared Goff to guys I don't even remember. There's 2 or 3 of them at the tip of my tongue here that are just completely... I think Kesey, they gave a second-round pick for him from the Minnesota Vikings, where they drafted him, kind of a bust. What do you think about this pick at number 3, going with quarterback Reed Oakley in our Commissioner Corner podcast mock draft?
Well, so I do have a little bit of information there. It just didn't work out with Goff. Morey was the guy that they brought him. They brought him in, just wasn't confident, and basically they said that there's too many years going by without a solid quarterback. They want to move up and they want to take a guy that's going to be there for a long time and be a solid quarterback. Now, there's a lot of question whether Oakley is the guy. I mean,
he's not. I don't think so, man. I think he'd be a great quarterback selected in the late first round, early second round.
Yeah, late second or late first.
He needs a situation that makes sense. He's going to be allowed to make mistakes, and they're going to be able to overcome them and just allow him to kind of figure his way and see if he is going to be a potential franchise quarterback. Do I think he has starting quarterback potential? Absolutely, but it all is going to require the right situation. This is not a quarterback you just plug in there and go, okay, Reed Oakley, this is a horrible situation, but you're going to fix it with your arm. Not that kind of quarterback, Lip. Can't move up and pick a guy like this.
Yeah, and the thing is, he kind of showed a little bit of a weaker arm. Doesn't have the great arm strength, but their philosophy is not to try to zip it into tight windows. They're going to take the underneath stuff, which kind of doesn't really play into the mindset of moving up to pick 3, giving up all of that for a quarterback. You could probably, like we said, you could probably find a guy similar to this late in the first. That pick 31 definitely could have taken this guy and been fine, but the good thing is he's got a good frame, 6'4", 233. He's also young, 21 years old, out of Wisconsin. The one thing that he doesn't have a lot of mobility. He's not going to be able to move in and out of the pocket fluidly and be able to create extra time like you see a lot of quarterbacks, like you see McBride and Indy doing, like you see Mariota and Russell Wilson be able to do. Yeah. So that's the one downfall on him, even if you overlook the arm strength.
If you have to sit in the pocket, Lip, you need your wide receivers to get space. He's got Curtis Samuel and Curtis Samuels, the Curtis boys over there. And then he has a tight end, which is a very wild card to me. Obviously, you see it on the screen right now. Jordan McDaniel's got to get in shape. He's out of shape. He's sloppy. He's going to have to get in shape there at the tight end position. Double chance ain't going to get you above the rim, brother. Tight end Jordan McDaniel needs to finish it out. George Adams at halfback. A lot of talent at the wide receiver position. You see a lot of speed. Curtis Samuel. They brought Curtis Sanders over from. Trivia question for you, Lip. Where did Curtis Sanders come from? Traded from the Buffalo Bills. Brought him over here. Another speedster. So 2 speedsters they've traded for. Curtis Samuel, which we know they got the Trayvon with him on board. Porter's still walking bow-legged after that trade. So you got Curtis Samuel and Curtis Sanders. Those are going to be the guys they're looking at. So that's going to be quarterback Reed Oakley taking at number 3. Los Angeles Chargers. Let's kind of set them up a little bit. Team that had the first overall pick a couple seasons ago. Not last year, but the year before they drafted Zach Hartley. He's been phenomenal with this team. Health concerns have been an issue with him. Let's see where we have them going. We got him going cornerback Fisher Simon, trying to get a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball. This was the number 2 corner me and Lip had mocked here. I think this is a solid play. I think it's a little bit of a reach at this point, Lip, but I like the kid.
Yeah, and the big thing was the tough decision here was that they really wanted a corner, and if the Steelers do not go Hardy, they will go Hardy for sure. We had to really leave them taking a corner because that's what they wanted, and they really think that that's like you talked a little bit about. They got the offense going.
Yeah. Now
they want to try to build the defense, and they're going to go with Fisher Simon. He's another small corner for only 5'11". 4.48 on this 40 time, so he's just a little bit slower.
But he plays tough, man.
Hardy.
This is a guy we watched in college at A&M. He plays big. He plays tough. I think he's going to be a little bit better than most people are giving him credit for in the running game. He's going to be phenomenal in the passing game. This is a team that gave up 29 points per game, 28th overall. They were 24th against the pass, 30th against the rush. I think he's kind of a do-it-all corner that can be a nice. He's one of the big surprises. He's my question mark in this draft. I could see him being a stud later on down the line. Watch out for Fisher Simon. Any last words on Fisher there? Top 5 pick, number 4 overall. That's where we got him going. Mock draft here.
Yeah, I think the only risk in him is that he's more of a zone corner. So, and I think that defense likes to man blitz quite a bit. So he's going to have to up his man abilities. But he's going to be terrific in zone. So if they can kind of change the way that they play defense a little bit, that's going to make him even more of a star.
Commissioner Corner Podcast, highest viewership of all time. We had 48 viewers watching right now. Lip, we just broke our record, which was 44 before. So shout out to everybody. 48 viewers watching at any given time, one given time. Fisher Simon, let's see where he pairs against with the Los Angeles Chargers. I didn't put it on the screen. Fisher Simon, Derwin James, and Andre Carter and Trevor Williams. This is a very, I like this secondary, man. I think they're going to be sneaky good here in the AFC. This is a team maybe not at the wild card push just yet, but they played very well the first couple weeks with Zach Hartley a couple seasons ago, and we all started saying they're on about that 3-season timeline. Well, guess what? Your time is up right now. You got to make a play.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're talking about. They built the offense. They're trying to build the defense now. They're going to be sneaky for that wild card spot because, I mean, they're going to have to battle the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to win that division. They're going to have to battle the Broncos, who are right on that outside every single season. Yep. So it's going to be a tough division battle. But I think that, building the offense like they've done and then starting to build the defense here with Fisher Simon's going to be a really good thing for them. And like you said, it's going to make them a sneaky team because teams aren't really going to pay a lot of attention to them until it's game time and they're losing to the Chargers. And
the Chiefs are such a dominant passing attack. Fisher Simon's going to help them against that division rival they got going on. At number 5, here we go. Right tackle, Hanson Wayman for the Buffalo Bills, a team that has drafted linemen in the past. They traded for Taylor Decker. They're about one lineman away from saying, hey, Baker, be ready to stand on your feet this season because there's no more getting on your back, baby. We got some help for you. Florida Gator, Hanson Wayman. What do you think about this kid?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. He was sacked 73 times last year.
And their line is good. Their line is actually pretty good.
Baker Mayfield, I don't know if you caught this. Baker Mayfield was sacked 73 times last year.
Wait, Mayfield got, what was it again?
73.
Whoa, that's
an unbelievable amount. But you know what? They're going to fix that with a 6'7", 310 lineman out of Florida. He's a pass protector, and that's exactly what Baker Mayfield needs. Third at right tackle with 32 bench press reps. The guy's strong. Another guy who's got some versatility. He's got some quickness to him. So being at 310, he's got the ability to move. Like I said before, with the 49ers lineman, Wigman has the ability to move all across the line. If he doesn't fit at one spot, he's definitely got the versatility to move all sorts of places, get some blocking downfield. But the big thing is try to reduce that number from 73 down into the 40s. And like you said, Baker Mayfield had a great season last year, so if they can build upon that, 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, QBR of 103, get him some pass protection, that's going to really improve the Bills' offense, which is what they wanted when they brought Baker Mayfield in.
Yeah, you're talking about quarterback play that was exceptional last season. You got to give him some help, got to protect him. The last first-round pick the Buffalo Bills have made at lineman was left tackle. You see him on the screen, Morgan Henry, and he's been phenomenal for them with Taylor Decker moving to the center position, kind of taking El Capitan role of this offensive line. I expect more strides forward this year. At number 6, we got wide receiver Mario Bartel. So the Eagles move down from 3 to 6, and they still end up getting their guy. Bartel's got blazing speed, arguably. Now, here's the twist. Me and Lip argued about this, kind of debated about this. I got Buffalo taking this kid. And even the Chargers could take this kid. So this is the one pick that we're looking at here, and we're going, this guy could go higher. And if he doesn't, he 100% will fall to the Philadelphia Eagles, and they will snatch him up without hesitation. Mario Bartel will bring some athleticism and speed, which they've lacked. As you've seen, Lunier Goins is out there. He's as slow as a Tortuga. He is not good. Or Tortuga, I'm sorry. Wide receiver Mario Bartel, what do you got on him?
So I like you said, this guy, I mean, he could easily go number 2. He is one of those that we talked about this draft. There's 2 phenomenal players. It's cornerback Hardy and it's wide receiver Rashawn Fuller. Now the big thing is here, he runs a 4.2 840, also very, very, very fast in the 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. So 5'11", 182, coming out of Alabama. He's a deep threat wide receiver. But the reason why I really want him to go to the Eagles is because right now the Eagles really struggling in the passing attack, really struggling on offense as a whole. They have Dante Moncrief, Devontae Parker, and Isaiah Ford as their top 3 wide receivers. So they need a number 1 target. If this guy falls to them, they take him. It totally changes the offense. Yeah. But like I said, I'm not sure that he'll be able to make it here because he is, to me, the number 2 talent in the draft. But where he fit, where teams ahead are drafting, they've got bigger needs than a flashy wide receiver. But Rashawn Fuller, one of the great talents in this draft, and I would love to see him go to the Eagles because he'll totally transform this offense.
Yeah, you look at Mario Bartel. This is a kid that's got speed, athleticism, can get it done underneath, over the top, however you want it. He's just an explosive playmaker that the Philadelphia Eagles desperately need. Dropping from 3 to 6. If they don't end up with him, I think they're okay with it because they did end up recoup a couple picks at the back end from that trade with Tennessee. So I think they're happy either way the chips fall. Let's move on. Number 7, what do we got? Houston Texans right in, Elijah Monk. No more J.J. Watt. This is a team that has to just kind of re-identify that front line, and this is the pass rusher extraordinaire that they need. What do you think about Elijah Monk, from Wisconsin, this Badger? How much did he impress you during his final season at Wisconsin?
I mean, Wisconsin, I mean, they let T.J. Watt get out of Houston, and they've got to replace him. This was their top target for this draft. 6'6", 271. He's kind of light, but really quick, and he's got great technique and the quickness. He's going to make a lot of offensive linemen lose a lot of sleep at night because he's just so quick and also strong. 31 bench reps. So this guy has quite a bit of talent. I would even dare say that he has it all, and he's got the ability to lay big hits whenever he gets the opportunity. And this is something that we're going to have to look at, because is he going to be able to replace not only just the skill set, but the leadership of J.J. Watt? And that's what they're looking to do with this pick here. And he's definitely a top 10 pick, and this is where he would fit in the best, because I think that this is one of the better defensive minds in this top 10 here. So I think that this is a great home for Elijah Monk.
Yeah, you're looking at the Texans get this edge rusher right here with Elijah Monk. This is a kid that can make plays on the outside. When this game first came out, we're talking J.J. Watt, Jadeveon Clowney. Clowney obviously still there. Monk and Clowney might be the 2 formidable frontline guys that they have. Also, I want to take a look at the fact that the Texans were sitting 18th defense last season in NBL Season 37. This is the biggest play. 2 picks inside the top 10. Z-Star just said it. That's what they have. Let's take a look at what the position group of the front line will look at like for the Houston Texans. Here we go. Elijah Monk, DJ Reader, Eddie Goldman, and Christian Covington. Also, Jadeveon Clowney coming off the edge as well, outside linebacker position. These kids on this front line can get it done, but Houston, 2 picks inside the top 10. They got the biggest chance to come away with some impact players that can dramatically change the current future of this team, the short future of this team, even up to this season. Liv, I'm really excited about the Texans, but let's go ahead and move on. Let's move on to pick number 8. Who we got taken for the Los Angeles Rams? On the board, here it goes. Left outside linebacker, Terrell Frazier. What do we like about this kid in the Rams? They went offensive line heavy in free agency. Now they're going back to that defensive side of the ball. They're trying to win themselves a division here that has been pretty much dominated by the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, and the thing is, they bring in T.J. Watt. They've now, in this mock, they're going to draft Terrell Frazier. That's going to give them a lot of control on the outside. So they're not going to let David Johnson run all over them. And this is step one into trying to contain what has won divisions for the Cardinals. So you bring in Frazier, 6'4", 237. A little bit slower, kind of a mid-tier speed-wise at a 4.73 40, but he's got the strength, 37 bench press reps. So this guy's definitely got the ability to take one step, pop an offensive lineman, break down, and tackle David Johnson for a 3-yard loss. And that's exactly what the Rams want, and that's exactly what they need to start bringing the Cardinals back from winning these divisions to where the Rams can win the divisions. And it's going to start here with Frazier, and also a very nice compliment to T.J. Watt.
Yeah, T.J. Watt, newly signed Los Angeles Ram. You look at that team, they shored up the offensive line as well, bringing in Norwell along with Lane Johnson, Mekhi Kaiser, Sanchez Massey, Terrell Frazier. All right, we're starting to look up here for Los Angeles. Maybe the Rams won't just get stepped on this entire season again. Maybe we're going to get some fight back. Moving on to pick number 9, center Ross Hand. He's the man. If he can't do it, no one can. The Baltimore Ravens, I love this pick. If they can get their hands on Ross Hand, pun intended, I think he's going to look good for this team. Played out of Clemson. He had some just phenomenal lead blocking ability. I like this kid. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think he's a great fit because this team, they've got the left side of the line locked up. They've got the right tackle position locked up. If they can get somebody else to fill in here later in the draft at line, and then they pick Ross Hand, they're going to have a phenomenal offensive line to go with that great rushing attack. 15th in the league last year. That's down a little bit, but they're building, and they like to run the ball and play defense. So you bring in Ross Hand, another strong lineman. And the big thing about him, he's agile. So he's going to be able to be a lot like Marquise Pouncey and get down the field and block in the run game. And that's exactly what they want. So like I said, they've got this good offensive line, and Ross Hand can make them a great offensive line. And they can start to battle. Whenever you can run the ball, control clock, play defense, they can start to battle for that division that was won at 9-7 by the Bengals last year. The Browns were 8-8. Yep. This division, I'm not saying it's wide open, but there's an opening here for the Ravens. They get their line locked up. They get running the ball well, start to play some defense. The division is not out of reach. It's not like it's the Chiefs division. It's totally wide open for these Ravens to have a shot. And that's what's exciting about taking a lineman. They can really help you control the game whenever you like to run the ball.
Yeah, you talk about zone running, zone blocking. Ross Hand is the man. If you got that kind of scheme, that's what you're looking for. He can definitely get to that next level and block downfield. He can stand his man up. He's pretty much good anywhere. That's why I have him as a top 10 pick here. Jawan Moss, Jared Pollard, Ross Hand, Bradley Stevens, and Ronnie Stanley front line here for the Baltimore Ravens. That's what you can expect this season, NBL season 38, if they do happen to get the center Ross Hand out of Clemson. Also, let's move on. Houston Texans at number 10, second pick of the top 10. They're going Denard Rose, middle linebacker, Florida State University. This is another electric pick. So if they're going to bring in a defensive end, Elijah Monk, then they're going to bring a middle linebacker, Denard Rose. This might be a nominee for the most improved defense in the NBL just after this draft. That's the kind of draft the Houston Texans are looking at having.
Yeah, this is going to make this defense absolutely amazing. I mean, we already went over Monk. That's going to make that defensive line very strong. And then you bring in Denard Rose, who's going to play in the middle there. You've got Clowney on the outside. And he's playing right beside Zach Cunningham, who's also a pretty quick middle linebacker. So you look at Rose. He's 6'1". He's got the height, 250. He's a pass coverage linebacker, but he's also got the quickness. He's the fastest linebacker in this draft, and also very quick in the 3-cone and the 20-yard shuttle, clocking in at the number 1 spot for both of those. So he is the fastest and the quickest middle linebacker in this draft. 6'1". He's got good height. So you got Monk playing up front, and then you've got Rose in the second level. That's going to make it running the ball impossible. And then pass. You got a pass coverage linebacker there besides Zach Cunningham, who's also very good against the pass. It's going to be tough to pass them. And then, you got to worry about Jadeveon Clowney, coming off the edge along with Monk. So it's going to be a crazy defense if they can get both of these players. And I think they got a really good shot because they're taking two guys that aren't the biggest, flashiest guys. They're really them in positions that you need to succeed. But they're not the flashiest, and this would definitely win the draft to me with these two guys.
Speaking of flashies, he started in chat saying, "Hey, why wouldn't he go wide receiver to replace D-Hop?" We just didn't have the Texans doing that. We think they're going to shore up the defensive side of the ball. The loss of J.J. Watt, just certain pieces they need to replace. The linebacker core hasn't been as strong as they wanted. Denard Rose will come in there and be a dominating force. Immediate impact, week 1 starter, both of those guys, and that's what you expect out of a top 10 pick. We got them swinging for the fences on both of these guys, and they're pretty much are what they are and what we're going to expect them to be. They're going to deliver. There is no real risk. Wide receiver, there's always a risk with wide receiver. You never know what you truly got. Sometimes it takes a little longer to develop. Hey, sometimes it's just a flash in the pan. It looks good year 1, then injuries come into play. A couple guys in the chat were asking about quarterback. Where'd they go? Well, there's just not many quarterbacks in this draft. This is not a quarterback-heavy draft, hence why we only have one going in the top of the draft. We're going to end the draft picks here. That's our top 10 mock.
Well,
let us guys know what you think.
Yeah, I mean, well, with the Texans, I mean, they really like Dustin Jerry. I think this will be the 3rd year they're rolling with him, and they do really like him. But the thing is, they're not a team that's going to go crazy. I mean, the Will Fuller is solid at number 1.
Yeah.
For them, he's had great production. They're not this super passing team. They're not a super offense. If they can play great defense and then just kind of control the clock, maybe surprise you a little bit here and there with their offense, they're completely happy with doing that. They want to build this defense, and like I said, they're happy with Dustin Jerry, so they're not really looking to replace that position. And if they feel good with Will Fuller, then they build that defense. They're doing exactly what they want.
All right, let's move on to the Crossfire segment. It's time to get it rocking and rolling. Your questions, you can call in. Guys, don't forget, twitch.tv/NBL Network. Don't miss any of the action. Bonus coverage, NBL Live, flagship show. You'll see that all on twitch.tv/NBL Network. You know, all you have to do is show up. Just show up, get your participation up. Appreciate all you guys. Also, I wanted to take a second to show some of these mocks that we got. So we're going to open up the lines right now. Let me get Skype up, guys. If you want to call in and talk about your team, we'll pull up your team. We got these mock-ups from Under Oath and Darce Knight. They are phenomenal. I'm going to show you right now. I've got in-depth reports on all of your teams. Secrets that you don't even know about your team. What's coming next for your team. You might not know about it, but we got it on the board. Let me just load everything up right now. All right, we got the Skype up. We got the number up. It's on the screen, guys. It's 330-408-5253. That's 330-408-5253. But let's get right into this mock right here that we got. All right, here we go. We got Steelers on the screen right there. You see it. San Francisco 49ers. We got mocks on everybody's team. If you call in, we'll talk about your team. We'll put it on the screen. There we go. Buffalo Bills, Philadelphia Eagles. We already talked about a top 10, so let's get out of it. What we got at 11? Minnesota Vikings are drafting at 11. They were 4-12 last season. Owner Tot. 79, 111, and 2 in the NBL. That's his record. Division titles, he actually does have one, but it was before he left, came back. You know, it got lost in the sauce. Notable offseason signings. Quayshawn Allen, Sean Davis, Trey Waynes, Marcus Gilbert, and Bradley Hackett, former Detroit Lion. Team needs cornerback, safety, offensive line. Fisher is the best D tackle in a pretty shallow class. The big man from Michigan should be a day 1 starter in this Vikings. So they got this is a Bleach Report stuff here. This is them, the draft gurus on our thing, Under Oath and Darce Knight, JB, Eric G, I believe, is in there as well. They got him going defensive tackle. What do you think about the Minnesota Vikings? 4-12. You think they go better than that this year, Lip?
I want to say that they do, but the big problem is, like we've talked about, they've had so much money tied up, and they can't really spend it. They can only get guys that you know, don't take a big bonus, so that they can't really improve that 29th overall points allowed defense. So I'm not sure that 4-12. I think they'll be right around there. I don't see a large improvement just because their inability to land the big free agents. Yeah,
if you want to call in right now, we'll go right to your team. We'll talk about them just a little bit. We've been going live for almost an hour now. 38 viewers watching. We peaked at about 48, 49, which broke a record tonight. So shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys stopping by. Episode number 56 has been a smash hit. It is the biggest rookie draft show in the NBL history. Here's the Oakland Raiders, 6-10 last season. Owner Captain Planet, 17-31.
This is the team.
This is the team right here. Offensive guard. Team. Is that where they got him going? Rashawn McMillan. The Raiders have neglected their O-line for too long. A solid defense has this team on the rise, but time to protect quarterback Deion Atkins. McMillan is the draft's best guard, and a solid pickup here. I completely agree. Notable offseason signings. Deion Atkins. What are your thoughts on him? Just a 1 to 10. How important was it to bring Deion Atkins in?
Yeah, it was very important because
should I say, because they had him last year.
Yeah, because I mean there was a lot of questions. I mean they were gonna just move on and they were gonna try to figure something else, but now you keep that chemistry, and then you bring in McMillan, who's, like you said, is the best guard in this draft. 6'5", 330, very quick, very strong. That's going to be, I mean, look at this offensive line. There's not a whole lot there to be proud of. They got Rodney Hudson at center, but he's 34 years old. So you got to bring in somebody that's going to be able to give Adkins some time to protect, get him some protection, and then get Jasper going on the ground. This is a team. They had a hot finish to last year. So if they can just stand tall in the pocket, do a little bit better for Adkins on that offensive line, they're going to be a good team.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about Deion Atkins. Poor Deion. He throws for 3,000 yards, 18 touchdowns. He's thinking, I'm going to go test my let me put my suit on. I'm going to go test his free agency real quick. Might be back, might not. See you later, Oakland. Little did he know, the quarterback free agency was deep, aggressive, star franchise quarterbacks were out there. Allen Rose didn't even come back from Miami. They couldn't come to an agreement on a deal. He took his talents to New England. Vindictive Allen Rose. And now you see a guy like Chuck Thomas, former quarterback of the New England Patriots. He's in Seattle.
I got a hot take.
Dak Prescott in Atlanta. What do you got? What's your hot take?
All right, so Allen Rose leaves Miami because Allen Rose was not that great. They won this Super Bowl with their defense. Allen Rose was good, but if you notice, I don't even think he was nominated for MVP last year.
Yeah.
Because he's not that great. And that's
I mean, that actually was considered a snub, though, Lips. So, I mean, people thought
I'm just
maybe
saying he wasn't good as a quarterback.
And what was their record last year?
Wide receivers.
15-1. 15-1 and didn't have a quarterback nomination at MVP.
Because he wasn't their most valuable player. It was somebody on that defense. But here's the thing. He's going to go to New England, and that's going to show because he's not going to be that great. He's going to be average, a little bit above average, not going to be an MVP, and I'll even say that he probably won't even lead this team to an actual NFC title. He will not get this team to the Super Bowl because we've talked about him quite a bit as where people don't talk about him enough, but I'm kind of realizing it's because he wasn't that phenomenal.
Wow. Hot
good
takes.
But Allen Rose, I was all in on him, and then I kind of watched season after season just be good. But I don't want that from my quarterback. I want my quarterback to be great.
I like Allen Rose.
That's my take. I think he's going to go to New England.
Let's take a shot to JY right now. Don't even realize it, huh? That's a JY shot right there.
What?
That's what you're doing. You're taking a shot to JY right now. He sees it. He knows it. He knows what's going on. Tight end Rob Gronkowski signs with the Cincinnati Bengals. Oh, Rob's so washed right now. 80 overall, 34 years old. Oh, man, they got Justin Houston, Bernardrick McKinney, Eric Berry, another older player. What is going on in Cincy? I understand they won the division 2 years in a row. They got 5 division titles. You see it right here, 5 of them. NBL record, 130, 93, and 1. Good NBL record. Their needs offensive line, tight end, wide receiver. The draft pros, that's Under Oath and Darce Knight. They got the Bengals have eyes on improving their somewhat weak offensive line. Hand is the draft's best run blocker. He's not going to – hey, sorry to break – hey, guys, did you not watch our show that just came on, 6 hours before you did these graphics? No, obviously they got Ross Hand dropping. So their draft prediction is Ross Hand. It's good to see that we're on about par with the pros. We're not the pros at drafting. We don't usually do draft. We got Ross Hand going a little bit earlier. That would be a nice pickup, though. Ross Hand would be a huge win for a team that's done nothing but take L's in the offseason, and he'll tell it to you yourself. How do you explain to a fan base? You went 9-7, right, Lip? Your fan base goes, well, we got a lot of money this year, too. Our owner says he's willing to spend, and we got salary cap. Nothing. Rob Gronkowski and Eric Berry and Justin Houston. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, the chat's, everybody's calling Cincy a retirement home. And I just want to point out, you look right here, Conference title 0, Super Bowl title 0. That's what Justin Houston, Rob Gronkowski, McKinney, and Barry are going to get
in the chat says, I'm all for having veterans mentor the young. Well, that's getting out of hand.
Too many. That's too many.
Oh, man, it's too many old. Now they start to think these are old people with egos, man. What's going on?
Yeah, that's going too heavy on the. This veteran's really going to help the development of our youth. Well, I mean, if there's no youth to develop, what are they going to do?
Eric G says, no one really wants to play in Cincinnati. It's not my fault. All right, moving on. Jacksonville Jaguars, Lip. Notable offseason signings. I think they messed up your board. 0?
We are what you may call broke. So it's been a little tough. We're gonna
21 division titles, 7 conference titles, 4 Super Bowls, 410, 133-1 for Lip Ripper. I used to think that meant something completely different. 7-9. Team needs linebacker, cornerback, offensive line. They got you going middle linebacker, Joseph Whitworth.
I'll take it.
Maybe he's the Miles Jack of this generation, meaning Lip will have him for a while. He'll hit free agency, and he'll be mine when he's in his prime. Appreciate that. We know how talented the Jags offense is, led by DJ Chark. I really think you should do some kind of DJ Chark, baby Chark. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. But this defense is in a major overhaul. It's in need of a major overhaul. Whitworth is an extremely skilled middle linebacker who is an anchor at defense, a great building block. Lip, would you be happy if you came away with Joseph Whitworth?
Yeah, I'd absolutely be happy. Just because middle linebacker has been a position where we've just kind of been plugging people in who don't really
plugging people in, and it just has not worked out. So if we can get a guy in the draft who can be there for the rest of the cycle, that would be very good. I'd be happy with Joseph Whitworth. All right, let's go to the Cleveland Browns. Big signing. We talked about it. They keep tweeting this. The Cleveland Browns Twitter keeps talking about Todd Gurley. 29 years young, 91 overall. Todd Gurley II making plays. They also brought in Malcolm Chapman, 75 overall. Devin Funches, 86 overall. Jabal Sheard, 82. Aaron Colvin, former Detroit Lion last year, played the slot. Still got a little JU ice. Well, there's still a little tread on those tires. Maybe. But still a formidable cornerback, 78 overall. Bananas NBL record, 163-91-2. 9 division titles, 4 conference titles, 3 Super Bowl titles, including a back-to-back to start. Madden 19 with these Cleveland Browns. Are they back? Is this a good enough offseason to say this team is back? They have him drafting quarterback Fisher Simon. He's not going to be there. Didn't you watch Commissioner Corner podcast? No, we have him going earlier. Draft pros think he drops a little bit. I understand why. I mean, there's some other players and probably more those flash in the pan kind of spice players you want to get in the top 10. Maybe cornerback Fisher Simon drops. But Cleveland Browns, are they back, Lip? Is this a team that you got to start looking out for again in the NBL?
Here's the thing. Whenever they had a absolutely decimated roster, they went 8-8. So they bring in some guys that got a little bit of talent. They draft well. That team could win 10 games, and that seems to be enough to get past the retirement home Cincinnati Bengals. So I wouldn't say that they're back as far as they're going to be competing for Super Bowls, but they're going to probably win the division, and they could definitely get a wild card victory. So, a victory over a wild card team. So I think that's a half true, but they're not going to be competing for Super Bowls and championships here with this roster.
Double A says Cleveland Browns will win the division this year. Shout out to Eric G. Number 16, the New York Jets, a team with a lot of money. They bring in J.J. Watt, Paul Richardson Jr., Anthony Barr, Jimmy Smith, Emmanuel Ogbah. That's a really good offseason. It's going to translate to anything more than 8-8. We don't know yet. Free safety Marcus Taylor. Marcus May is aging, and the Jets could use an understudy. Taylor is an extremely hard-hitting safety in the molds of Keanu Neal. Oh, wow, that's a big time. I always find it weird when they do they take a player and they say who he's most like, right? Who he kind of could turn into or feels like, and impresses prospect in the middle of the first. I mean, if you can get a Keanu Neal type safety at 16, the Jets have to be ecstatic about that opportunity. Their team needs are wide receiver, linebacker, tight ends, not safety on there, but they believe this Marcus Taylor is just someone they can't pass on. 0 division titles, 0 conference titles, 0 Super Bowl titles, 44-36 for Adam, 8-8 last season, NBL season 37. This is a really good free agency, Lip. 1 to 10, how would you grade this? Ogbah, Watt, Richardson, Barr, and Smith.
I mean, it's definitely an 8 because of Ogbah, Watt, and Richardson. Barr also and Jimmy Smith, that makes that defense really, really good. I'm not sure that they can compete in the division for the division title, because there's just two titans going at it there. But I mean, we've seen them win the getting the wild card before, but they've just been on a downtrend the last couple of seasons. But we'll see if this free agency class and then the draft boosts them back up into competing for getting back into the wild card.
All right, let's talk Porter. Carolina Panthers 9-7. BTF season 37 was a dud. Free agency dud-esque, except for Preston Smith. I really like this guy. I started looking at Preston Smith a little bit more after he signed him. Right outside linebacker. He's going to be a rush DN for this team. 87 overall. Demontre Navarre, and then you have Richard Sherman, Jacob Hollister. They have him going halfback. Frederick Douglass. I mean,
Frederick Douglass?
Frederick Joseph. Why would I? Hey, you know what? I said that yesterday.
Frederick Douglass.
I said Frederick Douglass yesterday in a joke, and it just came out right now. Wow, that's classic. And we could clip that on Twitch. Oh, man. They're going with old Frederick Douglass. The Panthers are an extremely talented team with few holes. McCaffrey is great, but is often injured. The big power back from Ohio State could be a great presence and insurance policy once McCaffrey inevitably goes down. A little snarky remarks there. Porter, 136, 150, and two division titles. Man, I don't know about these Panthers going halfback. I think they go probably wide receiver. They swung and missed on DeAndre Hopkins. I would see him going wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, with the amount of money that they tried to throw at Hopkins and he said no, I don't think they need a halfback. They definitely do need a wide receiver, so I would agree with you there.
So they're going to halfback Frederick Douglass. Let's move on. Seattle Seahawks, 9-7 last season. That's Darce Knight, 17-15 in the NBL. Team needs wide receiver, defensive tackle, defensive end. In the offseason, they brought in line safety Corey Moore, middle linebacker Eric Kendricks, quarterback Chucky T, Everson Griffin, right end, and Martavis Bryant, also former line. This is a heck of an offseason for the Seattle Seahawks. I understand some of these guys are older, but 85, 77, 96, 83, 89. They have him going Mario Bartel, but that wide receiver ain't making it. I'm sorry. You need a wide receiver, going to go to the next one. Who do we have next on the list? Just give your prediction right now, Lip, if they do go wide receiver.
The thing is, if they go wide receiver, I just don't think that the wide receiver position's got a lot of depth to it. So if they take the next one, it'd be Kendall Logan. He's 5'10" and doesn't have a lot of speed. 4.48, doesn't really jump off the charts anywhere else. He's got good ball skills, but I mean, he's not an elite speed, not elite height. So I mean, I don't really know if you take him at that position.
All right, here we go. Chicago Bears, they were 9-7 last year. The first time missing the playoffs this cycle. Owner Draco, 250 wins, 163 losses, 3 ties, 3 division titles, 0 conference titles, 0 Super Bowl titles. He's been here quite a while. Shout out to Draco. His offseason consists of a head-scratching, low overall. Corey Grant, 68 overall. He got a little JUI still. Left guard, Carter Wunschk. Shaq Lawson was the big sign, the left end. Thoughts on Shaq Lawson? 80 overall.
I think we had a big show about Shaq Lawson a couple of years ago. People just kept paying him.
Yeah, was it him? Yeah.
Yeah, they just kept paying him, and he wasn't doing anything. But maybe he's got some new life here. We already talked about Eli Harold, and there's just a lot of guys. They got him
going offensive line, Chicago Bears.
I
think that's
like
where they
that.
go.
I like that.
I see it too. All right, moving on. Washington Redskins 10-6, their best year of the cycle. Didn't make the playoffs still because it's just tough to make the division. They make the playoffs in the NFC. You're playing a division against 2 guys you play twice a year. That's 4 times. It's just not easy for the Redskins. They got all these reasons why. Pretty decent offseason. I actually thought Wembley was a low-key, pretty nice free safety. Ja'Cory Fenderson, not a bad wide receiver. They got this team going wide receiver Kendall Logos. Tell us a little bit about him. Nemo, 57-55, 2 division titles. Shout out to Nemo. I didn't know he had 2 division titles. Did you know that?
I did know that.
Well, you know it all, man. How many division titles did Nemo have?
Well, I mean, we talked about Kendall Logan just a minute ago, and he just doesn't really jump off the chart anywhere, kind of average. He does have great catching, so I mean, if you don't need a guy that's going to blaze his way open, I mean, he can certainly catch the ball.
Margarita Mendoza, where do we see that at? Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Bears left guard projected was Margarito Mendoza. Man, that is a sweet name. Margarito Mendoza. That sounds like a Draco-style name. All right, here we go. Atlanta Falcons. They brought in Dak Prescott. They're looking good right now. They brought in Quentin Spain, Jake Matthews, and Robbie Anderson. So you're looking at this. We're going to run through the last 10 fairly quickly. Dak Prescott, what do you think about that? 171, 195, and 2. What do you think about Dak Prescott going to Atlanta?
Oh, I mean, he's looking to, the Cowboys drafted, is it Sheriff? God, I can't remember his name. He's my fantasy quarterback.
Yeah.
The Sheriff, and they just kind of pushed Dak out, so now Dak's going to a team that can compete in the NFC, and he's going to try to get some revenge on the Cowboys here. Yeah,
the Dallas Cowboys drafted quarterback Parker Sheffield. But Lip calls him Sheriff. So we went ahead and roll with that. Cameron Jordan, Jordan Hicks, Tyler Lockett, Aaron Rodgers, Christopher Watt. What a great offseason for under oath. He's 28, 35-1. No division titles, no conference, no Super Bowl. But he's looking good. Maybe go quarterback here. Even though they have Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Copa, I don't think they go quarterback, but it's definitely a thought. Moving on, Arizona Cardinals, Melvin Ingram III, Jamison Crowder. Lip's got to get out of here, so we're going to run through these a little bit quicker. Serp, 91, 32-2, 3 division titles, 2 coming off a back-to-back. Cornerback Lewis Malone. I don't know if he goes there. Shout out to Jamison Crowder, though. I apologize for shaming his name about 2 seasons ago. He is a very good player. Only 5'9", but he can get it done. Melvin Ingram III, 81 overall. They bring him over from Seattle. Remember when Ingram and Gordon went to Seattle from the Chargers? Man, that was a crazy time in the NBL. Minnesota Vikings 4-12, tout 79, 111-2. We talked about him earlier. Quayshawn Allen, Sean Davis, Trey Waynes, Marcus Gilbert, and Bradley Hackett. We talked about this. AC Combs is who they have him going cornerback. Yeah, they definitely need some help in the passing game. These high-scoring games are crazy. Is it not for the Vikings? Isn't that how it always rolls?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. If they could, a couple seasons ago, on this show, we were talking about getting rid of Xavier Rhodes. He was eating up a lot of money. They could get rid of him and get some guys to get in that defense. They can easily compete in these games with the way their offense played.
Yeah, shout out to Millhauser, quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. He starts one season. Kind of looks like he's on the way out. He ends up staying. They bring in Dak Prescott. We'll talk about that on the next episode, where Millhauser might end up next season and what the heck happened to him in the offseason. He's just used good. Falcons just are not interested in keeping him around. They brought in Dak Prescott. 25, you got New Orleans Saints. They were 13-3 last year, led by Gov. 39-25, 2 division titles. Gilmore Gold, Grugier Hill, Dorsett, and Hodges is who they brought in. They had a very nice offseason. Brought in some speed with Camu, Grugier Hill, Philip Dorsett, and Bucky Hodges. But you look around, they got him going defensive end, Eric Williams. New England Patriots 13-3, Gubb. He signed Allen Rose. He's happy with that. He's going to bring in a wide receiver, maybe Jose Stevenson, to see if he can kind of be a #1 target for the New England Patriots, who once gave a big deal to Corey Davis. Shout out to them this Madden cycle. Kansas City Chiefs 14-12, collapsed in the postseason once again. Trent Williams, Eric Reed, and Matt Bosher. Nickel Roby, Coleman, and Deion Kane. Middle linebacker Ben Baldwin, 77-19 for JB. 6 division titles, 5 in a row this cycle. Phenomenal job for him. Falcons 28th overall. They moved back. Quentin Spain, Dak Prescott, Jake Matthews. This is the second pick of this round. Robbie Anderson. They have them going D-tackle. Antonio Cockrell. 2 division titles, 171, 195, and 2. Maybe we'll see Atlanta kind of bounce back. Chargers. 29th pick in the draft. Anthony Hutchins, Blake Bortles with the big pickups, got him going. Devontae Baker. And Baltimore Ravens 5-11 last season. Cougs 40-56, 0-0-0. Danny Shelton, who we brought in. They're thinking they're going wide receiver as well to replace Nate Logan, who they traded to the Detroit Lions. The 31st pick goes to the Tennessee Titans, a trade they made. Actually, this isn't right anymore, right? Didn't the Titans give this one up?
Well, I'm a little bit behind on the scrolling. Which pick?
Oh, the Tennessee Titans at 31st overall. They traded that up to move to 3rd, right? This is now the Eagles pick. Yeah, so moving on. Miami Dolphins at 32nd. They got Marcus Mariota, Brian O'Neill, Ali Marpet. 2 great players. The center, the offensive lineman, and Marcus Mariota. They're going to draft defensive end Christian Hansen. Their record in the NBL is 40-8, the best winning percentage in the NBL right now. 2 division titles, 2 conference titles, 1 Super Bowl title. 15-1 last year. Miami Dolphins looking at a repeat. That's going to do it for the show. Appreciate all you guys stopping by. This was a Crossfire segment. Went over every team. Biggest draft show in NBL history. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's going to do it for the show. And we are out of here. For myself and Lip, we will see you next time here on the Commissioner Corner podcast in about, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks. And we're out.
Boom.